Thank you. Thank you.
How challenging or difficult it is, to make a sequel, and whether there's a template, whether there are any do's and don'ts to follow?
I'd say, Nanta, it's very, very challenging to make a sequel because, especially a sequel that has received so much love from the audiences, it can be really humbling. But when you pick up the pen again to kind of make part two of something that is hugely loved, it's a huge responsibility and it's a very scary feeling because you don't want to let them down. Because when somebody is really giving you so much love, you just don't want to let them down. So definitely, I felt that added pressure while penning down Phir Aayi Haseen Dilruba, or produce, like I'm also the co-producer on the film, so the responsibility was twice over that the fans of part one should not be disappointed, that the love that Rani and Rishu received, the love that Dinesh Pandit, the fandom that Dinesh Pandit got in part one, that love, that fandom, that adulation should be well justified and continues to Phir Aayi Haseen Dilruba.
Since you already said his name, Dinesh Pandit, is that you? Is that you tipping the hat to someone? I mean, it is an invisible character, but I think it has the strongest impact on the narrative.
Yes, Dinesh Pandit definitely is the alpha in the world of Haseen Dilruba. And Dinesh Pandit, I'd say, is my alter ego. Like I was telling in an interview the other day that, it's like to my very, Dinesh Pandit, when I don the hat of Dinesh Pandit and I write with that frame of mind, and the pen moves, it has that extra wickedness, it has that extra what should I say, color, it has that extra edge, so it's almost like an escape trip for me as a writer also, because usually there's a structured narrative that one creates. You work within certain boundaries, you work within certain logics, but as Dinesh Pandit, I can defy it all. I can just dance to the tune of the world that I've created, the vividness of the characters and the circumstances, the unpredictability of it all, because Pulp allows you to do that. And like I've always maintained that, writing Pulp is like, dancing with a beast. Because anytime you can literally go down under while writing Pulp, it can just go off rails very easily. And to get the right balance where it doesn't border on the ludicrous, or it continues to hold the imagination of the people and their engagement and their love. That's a very fine line that one has to kind of tread. So when I pick up the pen as Dinesh Pandit, my alter ego, I really say he's the unpredictable wild yin to my structured narrative yang. So it's really very, in fact, it's a trip for me. It's almost therapeutic. I really enjoy it. In fact, that's the reason why I also wrote Haseen 2, because I was not done with the world of Haseen Dilruba 1. I was not done with, that experience when I was writing Haseen Dilruba as Dinesh Pandit, or when I was creating Dinesh Pandit's world. I enjoyed it so thoroughly that I wanted to revisit it again. I wanted to rekindle my relationship with Rani, Rishu, the same world, the same colors, the same unpredictability. So, how much I've enjoyed being Dinesh Pandit is also one of the primary reasons why I've written part two. So, and of course, Tapsi has been a frequent collaborator, but the way she has portrayed Rani, that added layer of unpredictability, sexuality, cinematic lens of a femme fatale. It's really going so well with her persona and how she's portrayed it, that it's become really special. It's become truly special. And Vikrant Masi is a fantastic actor. In part one, he got immense love as Rishu. So these two people have been from part one, they've traveled with me to part two also. They've been the same team that has taken this journey with me. So Dinesh Pandit, Rani, and Rishu are the people who've traveled from part one to part two. So the onus was a lot on us. The expectation was a lot on us, squarely on our shoulders, to deliver part two. And given the love that we are getting, it's been worth it. And we are very humbled, we are very grateful, and we are immensely happy.
And given the twist in the end, can we expect a part 3 as well?
You know, uh, Dinesh Pandit writes when Dinesh Pandit has to write. You know, if the story comes to me, and if it is compelling enough, and it evokes that thing that, Rani and Rishu need to be a part of it again. So why not?
Of course, you're saying that Dinesh Pandit is your alter ego. But while growing up, were you a fan of Pulp Fiction?
Absolutely.
Is there any particular author in Hindi that you were reading?
Absolutely. Whilst I say that Dinesh Pandit is my alter ego in a very, literal manner, that, when people come and say, "Arey, Dinesh Pandit ki kitabein kahan milengi? Who's Dinesh Pandit?" So, my husband Himanshu actually jokes that, put a mustache and come out. He's Dinesh Pandit. So I'm saying it in a very, literal manner. But actually, the whole idea for me also to create this character of Dinesh Pandit, for me to dip into my alter ego as Dinesh Pandit, it all comes from, it's a hat tip to all these legendary Hindi pulp authors, Surendra Mohan Pathak ji, Ved Prakash Sharma ji. They are, their books sell like, huge numbers. Only they are, read in a very hushed manner, but large numbers they are read. While growing up, we used to travel a lot via train, and in railway stations, you would see these colorful books hanging, the pulp, the stories, the forbidden stories with these vivid characters, vivid, covers. And that is definitely, that Dinesh Pandit's roots are definitely coming from this entire forbidden world of pulp. These authors who are legendary in the way they write, they have such a huge, fan base. And when I started reading them, I was like, my God, these are like little windows into little Indias, where you have these very rooted characters who are operating at a very raw, edgy, pulpy level. So I quite enjoyed them, and I missed that experience on screen. I missed that sort of unabashed, unpredictable, cinematic pulp experience on screen, which I was actually, while I was reading, say, Surendra Mohan Pathak ji or a Ved Prakash Sharma ji, I was not, I couldn't remember when I felt this sort of a rush, or a story which is etched out in these colors. So definitely the inspiration comes from there, the Hindi pulp writing. And Dinesh Pandit definitely is um, made from that book. It is a hat tip to Surendra Mohan Pathak ji and Veer Prakash Sharma ji. Definitely, you can see from the way the books are titled, the colors of the books. It'll definitely remind you of all the Hindi pulp writers, and I'm so happy that Dinesh Pandit as a character has caught the imagination of people, and this conversation around Hindi pulp,
Yes,
have come to the forefront, and we are talking about our amazing Hindi pulp writers, because while growing up, we would always favor reading English more, or reading a James Hadley
exactly.
Chase, pulp.
I was coming to that. For
Yeah.
someone who has studied in St. Stephen's and London School of Economics, I mean, on the face of it, you seem to be far removed from this world.
I grew up in Amritsar. I'm a small town girl. I have, of course, I've had education in very premium institutions, but I'm very rooted. My roots are deep within, and I take a flight. Yes, but I'm very, very connected with where I come from, the stories of the heartland, the pop culture, and the influences of the heartland. And pulp is something, like, again, I said that it is sold in large numbers in our country. It has the pulse of our audience. And as a storyteller, I'll be foolish to ignore that. And I have enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed a James Hadley Chase or a Sidney Sheldon. And in fact, one thinks about it also now, that, why would I have to be a little embarrassed about reading Hindi pulp and not be embarrassed about a Sidney
No,
Sheldon?
not at all. Yeah, yeah.
So again, there's some sort of a colonial sort of a lens comes in here, I feel. We are still not, inclusive of our pulp culture, our Hindi pulp culture, so much as we are of an English or a different language or an imported pulp culture. So for me, I can personally, as an author, as a creator, as a filmmaker, as a producer, I consider it a very good thing. And I'm very proud of the fact that after Haseen 1 and now with Haseen 2, this entire conversation of uh,
Yeah.
Hindi pulp writers is right in the middle of everything. And, with Phera Yasin Dilruba, even more so because people are hunting for Dinesh Pandit. They are wanting to know more about Dinesh Pandit. And when you want to know more about Dinesh Pandit, you would want to know about your Hindi pulp authors who have been silently but consistently writing and authoring a large amount of books being read by literally a large amount of Indian audience. So I'm very happy about that.
Yeah, and since you've already spoken about Amritsar belonging, I mean, Manmarzia was set in Amritsar, but do we see more stories coming from your own home state?
Of course, why not? Setting something in Amritsar is always going to be super special. Man Marziyan was the most special film for me because Man Marziyan gave me a voice as an author, as a writer, as a maker. And of course, when I set another story, which I think belongs to Amritsar, which I think needs to be told from that, from that lens, I'll definitely come back to it. I'll definitely come back and make a film in Amritsar again.
And is it a pure coincidence that Taapsee Pannu uh, has been the lead protagonist in about 4 films?
5 films. we're
Five,
we're
five. Okay, I
Yeah,
missed one.
yeah. So from Manmarzia, we have Rashmi Rocket, we have Haseen Dilruba 1, Haseen Dilruba
Right.
2. Yes, the thing is that uh, our combination works in a way, as a writer and as a performer, as an actor, uh, I get very excited to write for artists that I know I can push uh, beyond a certain level, that I can, get under the skin of. So I know Tapsi very well now as a human being. So I get very excited to write for an actor because then I feel that writer actor combination can be magical and then we can create characters that are memorable because I know how to push her or what buttons to press or what is it that she will kind of react to, which will make for a very good characterization. So even be it Kedarnath, where Sara Ali Khan is still remembered for that debut performance of hers in
Right.
Kedarnath, which did really well at the box office as well. So Sara, I
Absolutely.
after Sara was cast, I wrote the character with her in mind. And the same way when Judgmental Hai Kya, Kangana Ranaut's one of the finest performances, is so memorable. And again, that was magical because I wrote for Kangana. Once I got, started my conversation with her, engaged more with her, and so on and so forth. So with Tapsi, what happens is because there is already a proximity, we have an ongoing relationship in that sense, a professional, very strong professional partnership. So sometimes when she'll say that, oh, that idea I really love, because she heard about Phira Yasin Dilruba on Manmarziya set. So I told her the one line that I'm writing. Oh, I would love to be a part of it. So synergy just happens like that. And I am a creature of comfort. I like having people known. Like I like being in a space where I know that what should I say, that I can bring out the best from this person. So I think it's a bit of this and that, and also Tapsi really gets my style of writing, my style of making. I also produce most of my films that I write. So she's also very big collaborator in the truest form because it's a roller coaster journey to really make a film, a lot of hard work, sweat. It looks glamorous at the end of it, but there is so much hard work and there's so much that can go wrong. And if you have collaborator in the true sense, especially your leading lady or your leading man is backing you as a writer, as an author, as a producer, then things become so much more easier, the work becomes so fruitful, and then after that you really enjoy the process. So Tapsi and me are, a good team. And also it helps that we are both crazy. We get each other's idiosyncrasies because somebody can
And,
also be
and,
little
all,
like
and the fact that both of you are Punjabis, does that help?
that was the starting point of our camaraderie. That, oh, we have a joke between us. We are Sardarnis and Company. So it's usually, it's a cliche, but in our case, it is true that usually we are known to be very headstrong, as a
Yes.
community. We stand up for what is right. We, what you see is what you get. So those things are very similar between me and Tapsi, and we definitely, that's what we have a laugh about it. That is definitely a Sardar and Company happening. So definitely, that's one of we are very culturally also, bonded together. So it helps. It helps to get each other. Um, so yeah, but it's a
But
great.
most writers claim that when they write, they do not have any particular actor in mind because that kind of limits their writing. What you are saying is like different. So first of all, do writers have control over the casting choices? Of course, you are a producer now, so you may have some control. And whether whether writing for a particular actor helps you. You're saying that.
See, to each his own. For me, if I don't have a character in mind, I've written the screenplay on spec, then I rework another draft with the casting. I make it a point for every character, like not only my female characters, but my male characters, my secondary cast. As and when the casting happens, I do another draft. So for me as a writer, it's very important for me to know which actor is playing what role. And then I do my research, I understand who this actor is. What have I seen of this actor so far? What am I feeling? So it's a process for me. And For me, the only thing that I consistently strive for is that I do not want to see what I've seen already. I do not want to say that's already been said. I don't want a lens which has already been there. So there has to be something new, something different, something engaging at every level, be it even the actors who have played key characters in my films. Their filmography and the characters they've done with me will be very, like, the characters they've done with me will stand out in their filmography as well, because I put that sort of effort to make sure that my actor is really, really in sync with my character, and I consider that to be one of my strengths, so to speak, that I create, be it Rajkumar Rao's role in Judgmental Hai Kya, be it Vicky in Man Marziyan, be it Robbie, Abhishek Bachchan is remembered for being Robbie till date,
Yeah, absolutely.
be it Rishu, be
And
it
Sunny Kaushal in this one.
exactly, be it Rishu. So these are defining roles for the characters in their filmography as well.
Yeah.
And be it Taapsee in Man Marziyan, before Man Marziyan, Taapsee, after Man Marziyan, the way Taapsee was looked upon as an artist change. I've already mentioned Sara in Kedarnath. It's still,
Yes.
people come and told me that was one of the most loved characters of Sara Ali Khan. So this magic can only happen if there is a synergy between the writer and the artist. That is the only way that characters can become memorable. And for me it is everybody's connected with this chord. Me as a creator, my character, the artist who's going to play this character. So that synergy has to be absolutely magical for the magic to happen on screen.
But contrary to what we hear, that when stars come on board, they tend to influence the writing. You're talking of teamwork here. Is that true that stars come on board, they try to manipulate the narrative to some extent?
Really, see, I'm working I'm producing Dopatti. I'm also the writer on Dopatti. I have Kriti Sanon and Kajol. I work with the biggest artists in the industry, with God's grace. And not really.
No.
I can talk about my experience. I'm sure there are people who've had other experiences, but I can only talk about my experiences.
Yeah,
Not
absolutely.
that they may not happen. It may happen also. But I think it also depends on what is the equation, who are you dealing with, what is the body of work that the other person is bringing on the table, what is the credibility. So everything is very fluid. See, in the industry now, there is no set rule or format or a code of conduct, which is true for everyone across the table. It all changes with every Friday, you know and it see, for artists also, when they feel safe and secure that we are in safe hands, they do not interfere. But when they get a little
Yeah.
sure that, oh my God, then of course, it is very evident that they are going to do that much extra, take that much extra interest, make sure that their character lands, and as they should, because they are the face of the story at the end of the day. So I think it's a bit of both. I think as creators, it is our duty also to make them feel comfortable, to make them feel confident in what they're doing, to explain the entire process to them so they surrender. And otherwise also, if there is a certain concern, you have to meet them halfway. But frankly speaking, I've really not had in my career graph, be it from Manmarziyan, Kedarnath, Haseen Dilruba, Phir Hai Haseen Barash, I have not had any artist or any star wanting to interfere or change things in a certain way. And now latest Do Patti, I have Kriti Sanon, I have Kajol. It was absolutely, as a producer, as the first time producer, it's my full-fledged Katha Pictures production. To be able to cast Kriti Sanon and Kajol, both are legendary in their own time and talent. I'm totally delighted, and I had a blast shooting with them. So I'd say that it's a bit of both. You also have to meet them halfway, and they'll also meet you halfway.
As a writer, I mean, your heroines are sassy, they're flawed, they're seductress, they can have an extramarital affair. As a woman writer, are you obligated or compelled to portray women in a certain fashion? Is there a particular kind of woman you will not portray?
I do not, who I will portray, I can't really define, because, whatever inspires me, actually, the characters that I write, be it the women character, be it the male character, be it the side characters, they're all in a way, and a part of me. Some of them are characters that I love. Some of them are the characters that I would aspire to be. Some of them are the characters that I hate. So there's some sort of a very deep emotional connect that I have with each of the characters that I write. Either it will be hatred, or it will be love, or it will be admiration, or it will be inspiration. There has to be some sort of a connect as a writer towards my character. Now, coming to what sort of a woman I would not want to write is, a woman who is, uh, uh, you know, a woman who has no choice, a woman that I don't enjoy writing. I will write that woman to show that, this is not okay. Because sometimes you have to write certain characters to be able to tell the story that this is not okay. This is going to have a repercussion. So I'd not put it like that, that what kind of woman I would not write. But I would like to put it like that what kind of women would I not be happy writing. But unfortunately, because it exists in the society, and they are made to, behave in a certain manner. So I would not I hate writing helpless women characters. I hate writing characters who don't have the agency of choice. I hate that. Be it in their personal life, be it in their sexual life, be it in their professional life, be it even in the house, when you feel that, these days the whole debate of, looking down at women who want to be homemakers, it is their choice.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't want
absolutely.
women being judged. And unfortunately, what happens is, even since we're talking about women and agency of choice, I also feel that the way we are defining feminism today in certain aspects has become so rigid and non-inclusive. For example,
Absolutely.
women who come from smaller towns, they don't have multinational companies. They cannot be breaking glass ceilings because they don't have that education. They
Yeah.
don't have the means. So why will they not be included in our definition of, feminism and the ideals of feminism? How can we apply that definition to them in smaller towns? And the only way we can apply it to them is by telling them that, listen, as long as you have the agency of choice to choose, do you want to stay at home? To choose, do you want to rest? To choose that you don't want to cook today? To choose to get a buy? That is the true freedom at every basic level. And not even that, then you go out to smaller towns where girls want to work, to choose where they want to work, to choose their life partners. So it starts from ground zero to coming to urban sectors where women like you and me, we are working, we are out there to have safe working environments. I mean,
Yeah.
feminism as a concept is direly and badly needed today, from the grassroots level to the urban sectors, even professional sector, and personal sectors. So I just feel that I hate when women are put in a situation where the agency of choice and freedom is taken, and they are judged with very double standards and yardsticks that are so archaic that it's not even relevant.
Back in time, you defended Kabir Singh, which got a lot of flack from critics. What would be your stance on animal?
When I spoke about Kabir Singh, I was still telling you that, I hate, like, taking forward from this point, that I hate women who don't have the agency of choice. But in Kabir Singh, the girl she was very able. She was coming to the college.
Yeah.
There was no pressure put on her. Her family was very good. Now, when you choose to act in a certain way, there is going to be a consequence. Same way Rani, when she's making wrong choices, there's going to be a consequence. So I'm giving you a character that will be loved but may not be liked. She's not supposed to be emulated. She's going to make mistakes, and her life is going to be, she's a criminal now. The police is looking for her. You can't idealize that. It can be entertaining, but you can understand there's a cause and effect. So, in the same way, I'd say that when I spoke about Kabir Singh, my main thing was, does that character have agency of choice or not? Now, coming to animal, which part of animal are you referring to?
Oh, well, the one maybe the Tripti Dimri part, or mainly that, or his relationship with his wife also.
Now, see, from just the lens of talking about agency of choice, because that is the lens that I choose to wear to understand where I stand on a particular situation. Is there, I like to ask you a question. The wife's character that was portrayed, did you feel that she was suppressed in any way? Or was she any lesser in terms of her, she was opinionated.
Yeah,
She she expressed herself freely. She decided to walk out of the marriage when she decided to walk out of the marriage. She decided to
yeah.
stay
In fact,
when she decided to stay in the marriage. But I would have a problem if she was being blackmailed, if she was being pressurized, if she was being, or she was portrayed like somebody uh, who doesn't have a choice, and that is, then idealized that this is how wives should be. That is a problem. If you tell me that, Are dekho, she's such a good wife because she doesn't oppose her husband, because she doesn't, object to his infidelity, and she's totally subservient to him, and that is how a good wife should be, I have a huge problem with that narrative. But in this, when I saw this character, I felt as an audience that she's the one who's walked out of her first engagement. She's broken it off and she's gone to this guy. She's very abled. She has all the choices in the world. And now, as a human being, this is the wrong guy she's going with. Now she's going to suffer the consequence of that. And she did. She had to walk out on him. So, as purely from the lens of from
choice.
feminist gaze and this sort of a yardstick, I didn't think she was suppressed, or a certain value system was kind of projected that Sati Savitri is the only way to be a good wife.
And but talking of, since we're talking about man-woman relationships, your husband Himan Sharma is a writer too. So how does it work when there are two writers? How much of brainstorming is happening between you two?
You know, like our friends tell us that you should put a camera here. It's a sitcom in the house because,
Okay.
we both like telling stories. We both like having the last word. And it's always like, who's going to outdo the other? So it's like a very healthy competition going on here, where now our son is also, joined the gang. So it's a big party.
So
uh,
he's already a storyteller, huh?
He's already a storyteller and he is telling stories that both of us are not being able to catch on to. And like, what? This is a plot twist. So yeah, it's quite fun actually to have a partner and have a husband who's, in the same industry, also a writer, because the brain of a writer works in a different manner, I'd say. Like, we're wired differently. There are times when we need to be by ourselves. There are times when we need to have 20 people around. It's erratic a little bit, and it can be difficult for another person who doesn't understand this to be around. And I can be a difficult person to be around, and so can Himanshu. But because we understand each other, because we know when there's a deadline and when there is pressure and when we are trying to crack a scene, we know each other, we know from each other's face what's going on. So that makes a partnership rock solid. And we're really actually having a ball. So it's
You
fun.
were talking about Kedarnath's box office success, and but there have been some movies like Judgmental Hai Kya, who haven't done all that well. Is a writer freed from box office pressure?
You know, now that I look back, Man Marziyan has literally turned into a cult classic.
Absolutely.
Okay. And Man Marziyan did lesser than what was expected, but Man Marziyan has given me my entire career. What reason do I have to complain? Then comes Kedarnath, it's a box office. Then comes Judgmental Hai Kya, and Judgmental Hai Kya now people say is one of the best films to watch. So sometimes maybe the timing is not right, but the stories that you want to tell with passion, with the right intent, will always find an audience. So I don't think there is any pressures. I don't take that pressure. Of course, there is that pressure out there for a continuous performance, and one needs to. We would have not made Phirai Haseen Dilruba if Haseen Dilruba numbers were not so gigantic and humongous. So of course, success has to be there. Of course, the pressure is there, but do we kind of entirely run after that and alter our storytelling and what we want to tell? Or at least in my case, no, I don't do that. Because eventually, I think each and every story of mine has found a fandom, an audience, an adulation. My characters are remembered. There's a conversation around it. Sometimes it's polarizing, and sometimes it's loved. So as of now, I'm having a good journey as a storyteller, as a producer, as a filmmaker. I'm very grateful.
So would you say then OTT is the right medium for writers? It's often being hailed as the writer's medium. And would you like to try the long format too?
No, not really. All sorts of mediums are. There's no right or wrong medium per se.
No, a writer's medium.
See how okay, now like in Hollywood, how television is supposed to be writer's medium. How again OTT, you have these long format series and all of that are writer's medium. Because writers hold the entire show together, because you can't have a director who's literally directing 8 episodes or 12 episodes or 30 episodes. So the entire showrunners are the writers. Also, I feel that now with this sort of a content where you're competing with the world, you know, the focus is squarely on how important thick stories are, how important content creators are, how important the writing is in a story. So we are in a stage where the focus is coming back to stories. So I think it's a great time for writers to write for box office, to write for OTT, or to write for television, because finally we as Bollywood, as an industry, we are understanding that purely a star system and purely a mathematics and an equation of packaging will not get you the audience, will not get you the love, will not get you the benchmark that you achieve. People have to come in, or they have to log in, they have to watch, they have to enjoy. And then the word of mouth is going to be the king, be it series, be it box office. And I think that's a beautiful time of change, of chaos, of rectification that we as an industry are going through. And I think it's all for the good.
But we are talking of a lot of love and attention that your work has received. But at times critics can be, rather unkind. How do you process that? And also sometimes the audiences can, judge your work even before it is out there. Sometimes
We
you're
sign
told
up for this.
for very whimsical reasons. How of course taking love it might be easier, but how do you process, some kind of this kind of response?
See, we sign up for this actually. As an artist, when my work is out there, we sign up for the love. And if you are enjoying the love, you better be prepared for also people for the hate. So, for example, coming to critics, like Manmarzia was reviewed so beautifully. Like literally, critics gave me a career. They reviewed it, and I still remember some of the critics had said, we want an extra star for Kanika Dhillon. I doubt that so much weightage was given to any writer during that time, which the critics gave me. So I have I love the critics. And but I love my audiences too. So I value the critics, but I value my audience too. And sometimes they are at loggerheads, which is fine, which I'm okay with. I saw that with Haseen Dilruba, that it was panned by the critics. Haseen Dilruba won. It was loved by the audience. Now, as an artist, who do I want to please? Maybe I want to please both, but is that possible? Sometimes or mostly not. Because when as a set of critics, they are used to a certain sort of viewing, a certain sort of tempo. The audience they both want different things out of a film, at some level.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
as an artist, sometimes my need for my audience's love is much more in certain stories than my critical validation. And Haseen Dilruba 1 and Phira Haseen Dilruba 1 are two examples of that, where I know I made the film for my audiences. So, in that case, I'm ready that, this section may not understand it, but this is not who I made the film for. You have to know your audiences well, and you'll be very happy creating films. I know which audience I've written this for. So I'm going for that audience. And when that audience is giving me a thumbs up, my work is done. I'm happy. Haseen Dilruba largely was a pulp film. Pulp is never for the critic. Pulp is for the audiences.
Yes.
It got a huge thumbs up. Haseen 2 has got a bigger thumbs up. But this time around,
critics are fine.
But the critics have also given me a thumbs up. So I'm very happy. I'm very thankful. Yesterday, Mayank Shekhar did a write-up. Mayank Shekhar is one of the foremost critics in the country today. I really enjoy reading his work. And I remember Man Marzia, he did a huge page of a review. And then yesterday, his headline was, "Who the hell is Dinesh Pandit?" And I love that in a way that, slowly Pulp is just softening to Haseen Dilruba. And it's a beautiful experience. And of course, there are certain times that we disagree, but that's what you've signed up for. But the most heartbreaking definitely is when a film is made for a certain audience and then they don't like it, and then you reflect and you say, "Oh, I'm going to do better." That definitely is there. So the heartbreak comes when the audience doesn't like it.
But you often talk of not writing or a boring film. Is there a trick to writing an entertaining film? And if there is a trick to write a thriller, how much of the how many elements should be predictable and how many unpredictable? And of course, in your movies, there are a lot of twists and turns. But you need to take the audience along.
So if I find that equation, trust you me, I'll be making much more films at a much faster pace, but there is no equation. The world, the characters, the stories, the situations, a lot of it defines and dictates what the final screenplay of the film will be like. So there is, unfortunately or fortunately, not one shoe that fits all, not one equation that fits all. Of course, there's certain key techniques that one follows, but after that, it is you as an artist, you as a writer, you as an author, you as a maker, how you interact with that, what you bring on the table. And that's where you say, your skill set comes in. So yes, there's not one shoe that fits all in this particular case. It has to be a case by case, but I do enjoy writing thrillers a lot. But I also enjoy writing love stories, and I also enjoy writing disaster films. So I actually just like telling good stories, fun stories, engaging stories, because I'm an avid consumer of stories. I've grown up reading so much. I've grown up, being enamored by cinema, and my love for movies is very ingrained. So I think it's just an instinctive thing that because I enjoy a certain sort of entertainment level, I feel that when I'm making a film or a story, I need to at least reach that or get to that to offer my audience.
But is there a story you're dying to tell?
Oh, I have many stories I'm dying to tell now that I've been collecting stories for the last 10 years because I've I've just started 1 year old. Katha Pictures is my production house. It's 1 year old. My first film as a producer is Do Patti, with Kajol and Kriti. And trust me, I've kept a bank of stories ready that I'm trying to tell. And I'm now that I have my Katha Pictures, you'll be hearing of them soon.
And what's the writing process? You write the story and then approach the producer, or the producers approach you and then expect a certain kind of genre from you?
I'm a producer myself now. I don't really work
Yeah.
there anymore. So I get to choose the kind of stories I want to tell. So that's what,
That's
the last 10 years I've worked towards this, that one should be in a position where one can choose what stories one wants to tell.
And last words on women's voice in Bollywood, or
Sorry?
rather in on women's voices in the entertainment world in Bollywood. Do
Hmm.
you think it's, of course, it's gaining more and more criticism, and also more and more women writers, directors we are seeing. But I mean, how do you look at this whole phenomenon? Do you think a woman's voice really matters? You often also talk about boys' club in the industry, but do you think now we are anywhere closer to a women's club in the industry?
We definitely should have a women's club. About time. I think we're moving in the right direction. I think there's some incredible women in the industry right now. I definitely think that the ratio is skewed and there should be more women storytellers. But it's a great start. We have great female screenwriters, we have directors, we have DOPs. The ratio, man-woman ratio, vis-a-vis the workforce is increasing as it is, as it should. And as a country also, we are trying to work towards that, the work ratio of male female etc should be more balanced, because that's a very healthy sign for a democracy, for a country, of overall health of the nation. So I'm glad that we are moving in the right direction. We're not there yet, of course. It's still very skewed, but we do have some very strong voices right now in the industry that are female voices, and step in the right direction. And I hope we are able to get more women. And I also believe, now that I'm a producer, I have made a conscious effort to get more female, do more female hiring, be at various levels, be it the prep, be it the post, be it in the AD team, be it in the, usually girls are only, hired for costumes. But as a producer, want to take a conscious decision to have more girls in my workforce, in my company, in my films, so that that makes a difference overall. And there are more opportunities out there for the girls and women to join the workforce.
But do we see you turning a director anytime soon?
Yeah, probably, I think. Right now, my son is very
Time.
small. Yeah, so he needs my full attention. And, I think once he grows up a little bit, maybe then I will. But as of now, I'm very happy, you know, being a producer, making films, writing with Katha, like under my banner, Katha Productions. And the most important thing
But
that I'm
I mean,
enjoying is being a mom. So I want to I know when they grow up so fast, and I don't want to miss out on, you know, uh, his early childhood days. I want to kind of balance it out well. So I'm not dying to direct right now, but eventually, maybe sometime when the story is right, the time is right, I feel that I want to go on the set now and direct, I will do it.
yeah, among the women voices, there are, of course, you were one of the very strong voices, and you're breaking stereotypes to not following any template, creating your own. But looking back, to whom would you owe your strength to?
I would owe my strength to the women in my life. Because the kind of society we all are brought up in, we have a lot of role models. We have a lot of conversations and influences that indicate that a woman should not be ambitious, that a woman should be subservient to a man, that a woman has certain defined roles, that try to be a good woman your entire life. But I would give credit to the women in my life who have told me the opposite, that it's okay to be ambitious, that is okay to not always be try and fit in the other person's perception of what a good woman is. Because I think being called a good woman or being appreciated as a ideal woman is the biggest trap that, patriarchy has set for women.
Yes. Yeah.
I really owe my kind of conditioning or the lens that I have today to the women in my life, my mother, my sister, my aunts, because I saw them defying all of that. I saw them being opinionated, and the only way one can learn is when they're growing up, through examples. My mother was a working woman; she was a professor in a college. I would see a lot of students coming to her for guidance. I would see the kind of conversations they were having, and she was very particular in telling her students as well that it is not just okay. It's not okay to be treated like a cattle. You have to think for yourself. So very early on, this entire concept of who we are supposed to be versus who should be, I was seeing live play out in my life around me. And I think that's what gives one that courage to call out the status quo, and to be confident in saying that I'm not going to follow the path that is laid down, which doesn't make sense to me.
And ultimately, Kanika would like to be remembered for what kind of cinema?
Uh, you know, I would like to be remembered for, what my stories stand for, what my characters are saying, be it Rumi I would like to be remembered by my characters, a little bit of this and that and everything. For example, Rumi says it's okay to be messy in love. Mukku in Kedana says it's okay, it's okay to fall in love with a man from another religion, because ultimately it's about humanity. Religion is not going to save you, humanity is going to save you. Bobby Kangana in Judgmental Hai Kya says that my reality is different from yours, so don't judge me just because you think I have a mental illness. I have my own reality, is very real to me. So don't dismiss me. So these are very important things, ideas that I want to be known by. Haseen Dilruba 1
Yeah.
says that it's okay for me as a woman to explore my sexuality. I can also be unhappy. Uh, and it also says that when I'm going to make a mistake, I'm going to really pay for it. But having said that, in Haseen Dilruba, I would not want anyone to emulate Rani or love Rani in that sense.
Yeah.
So the point being that in every film, Rashmi Rocket, you know, where
It's
she's an
an
athlete, which is actually playing out in real life now in the Olympics. You can see how the women are being harassed. And people are calling me and saying, oh my God, Rashmi Rocker is exactly the same. And that is what I want to be remembered by. That when we made a Rashmi Rocket and she spoke about how the athletes were treated, and people are recalling that, oh my God, this is really happening. When Judgmental Hai Kya comes out, the doctors community calls me and says, oh my God, because you made a film with an A-list actor, the entire debate of mental wellness is right in the middle of everything. So I want to be
Yes.
remembered by these things. I want to be remembered by the ideas, the perspectives, the thought process that my stories and my characters bring into the pop culture, or the drawing rooms, or the narratives in the media. And I want to be remembered for those, for sure.
Multiple realities and multi-layered characters, right?
Absolutely. Who are saying
Okay.
something important, who are saying something that one needs to think about. And it is
So,
a welcome addition to their thought process.
so looking forward to more from your pen, and hoping to see you wield the directorial pattern soon. I'm sure that will be as different as rest of your work. And thank you for your time, and pleasure talking to you. As much a pleasure it is to watch your work on screen. Thank you.
Thank you so
Kanika.
much. Thank you. It was a pleasure. Thank you.